Hey friends, welcome to Ajuga Gardens. I'm Mike Toomey, and today we're going to be adding 2 more orange rocket barberry plus the Ajuga. So we're working on that little bed right in front of the shed. I've got some things I just kind of caught up with. I was like standing there yesterday and I was like, ooh, I think I know what this needs. So we'll be putting these in, and then tomorrow's video, I think we're going to capitalize on that space, and then we'll be able to wrap it up. But I do need your help as far as ground covers. I'll walk you over there. But we've added several different types of ground covers in there, and so I'm kind of wondering, is it going to get too aggressive for one another? And that's why I need your help. If you guys are in a situation where you own these type of plants and you've seen one be more aggressive than the other, this is something I need to consider, and those of you who are viewing would need to consider. So let's go over there, take a look, let's see what plants we picked out, and let's pull this thing together. I can't wait. Okay, I picked up 2 flats of this Bronze Beauty Ajuga. Golly, I just love how dark that is. And when we get over there, if you can imagine, but look at these 2 colors just together. Oh my word, this is gonna be so nice. Let me see if I can lift this up, give you a little bit better view of that. Look how well those 2 colors play together, oh my. And then once we add it with the sedum, and oh, that's gonna look so gorgeous. I think this is just going to be a statement piece. And remember, the reason why we're working on this bed and adding so much ground cover and whatnot is because prices continue to skyrocket. So instead of me coming in here with annuals every season, so like right here, if you missed the video, we're going to come right through here with the Ajuga, right around the bike, right there, and then just kind of drain its way out. So I also picked up the barberry. I think I'm going to put one there, and I thought about one more right there. So we're going to look at it. I think that will be a good flow. So one there, and one on this side. But I figured out what I think I want to do in the next video over here. But if you can imagine this dark chocolate looking Ajuga come through here, it'll play so well. I know someone told me lose the bike. Maybe I think maybe you mentioned maybe putting it over here or somewhere, and that's okay. We can simply make that decision somewhere down the road. I really want to play off that orange of the little tricycle. I have no affiliation with this tricycle. It's just I like old bikes, and I like the story that sometimes if I can look at that bike and say my imagination maybe takes me to the 60s or 70s with this tricycle. I just like the nostalgic and the idea that somebody's child rode that for the first time and the last time, and the idea that at one point somebody climbed off of that bike and it went to a garage, maybe it went to a garage sale, it went somewhere, but it ended up in our garden at some point. And so I kind of like that idea. It don't have to be the focal point. I can simply pick that up and move it at any point. I can use a big stone right here. I can come and make something somewhere down the road. But I think once we pull this all together, it's going to be so nice. Guys, these bunnies are so, I don't know if I'm the bunny whisperer or what, but they just are everywhere. I'm like 20 feet, maybe 15 feet from that thing, and it's not worried about me at all. But yeah, let's get some stuff in the ground. Look over here. I propped this up because I really wanted you to see the colors play so well. And now I'm so excited to get that dark color on the ground to see how well it plays with the sedum that's on the ground over there. So that being said, let's go ahead and whistle on over there and see if we can make a big dramatic change with just the statement pieces that we have. Can't wait. Okay, so off camera I went and I straightened up the edging on here, and I got rid of a lot of the grass that's already started to grow back over there. If you're starting a new garden bed, just take the extra step to get rid of all of the grass and weeds that you can. The weeds not so much. I mean, you can you can kind of turn those over, but grass is really hard to get out of your garden bed once it gets started, without chemicals, of course. So I'll just come through here. I'm going to remove as much of this grass, like I said, I dug up. We'll see what pieces I've missed. I'll come back with the shovel and I'll kind of add it in there. You see this rock? This is what I'm talking about, letting the growth take over. I think once I put, pardon me, once I put the Ajuga, it gets I believe 6 to 9 inches. Can you imagine that? The base of that, those wheels, probably the top of the wheels is probably like 9 inches, so you can imagine that growing over. This is what I live for. I love watching ground covers be a part of the hardscape. A lot of your weeds, if you're just putting a garden bed together, you can just get cardboard and put it over and it'll suppress it if you're putting mulch or something on top of it. Okay, I think we've pretty much got that cleared out. Okay, friends, simple project, real easy, real done. I know it's gonna be a little bit harder for this to pop right now because I have that fresh ground soil in there. If you've been following me for any length of time, you know I put ground soil on top of our clay soil here. I just kind of mix it up just to make it a little bit easier to plant in. I add it every single time. You can see we've got Ajuga. Honestly, if I'm a viewer, I might say, yeah, you got an overkill abundance of Ajuga in here. That's okay. I want it, again, you've watched me for any length of time, you know I want it yesterday. So I want this view to really come in and just really pop. Next spring, all the little flowers that are gonna be all around here, oh, it's gonna be gorgeous. And if I can get it to grow up around that tricycle, it'll be everything for me. Opinions, feel free. Would you or would you not leave the tricycle in there? I always love to see the feedback. It's rarely ever 50-50. Generally, most of you have that same vision I do. Leave it in there, cute little whimsy, cute little story. But you can imagine in the next couple of years, that'll just be suffocated with these. And in fact, I've got Ajuga back there on those railroad ties, and it's actually creeped up through the railroad ties, any cracks and crevices. So I can imagine it playing so good with this bike as well. Not saying it'll grow over it, but there's a chance once it gets to a mounding habit that it'll incorporate itself into that tricycle. Anyways, guys, we're adding the extra 2 barberry on the side. It extends that view where before I just had it kind of clumped in there. It almost looked like I was missing something. So I think this actually pulls everything together. Once we get this watered in, I'm telling you, I think this will be really sharp. So I think it was these 3 that I moved from the east side of our home because it had too much shade. This one I already need to do a chop on, the old Chelsea chop, because it's clearing away the leading favorite right now. But as glorious as it makes everything in here pop, that will going to flop, basically. I was gonna say spread, but it's just gonna flop. It will flop onto everything else and it won't look as good. So I need to Chelsea chop that and probably get started on these other ones, because these 2 I believe I had last season and they both flopped pretty well. But guys, this is coming together so well. I've got a little bird bath right there. You can just see a hint of it. And that bird bath is probably an illustration of what I'm kind of wanting to do with the rocks and this border right here, is just let everything incorporate itself onto one another. So eventually the Ajuga is going to cover most of that rock, and then there'll just be little spots, as you can see right there with the sedum. Here's my question to you guys. I know I asked you about the tricycle. Feel free, that's opinions, I get it. And that's what I like. But what I'm gonna ask is, have you ever had multiple? So I've got the Ajuga and then I've got the sedum. I know Ajuga is very aggressive and can take over in spots. Have you ever had it take over in the area where your sedum is? Also, I've got the periwinkle. I know it's super aggressive, I get that, and that's what I really want. Sorry, in the pause, neighbors' dogs are happy, letting all the neighbors who walk by know that they're out there. But anyway, this periwinkle, once it gets going, it's going to creep everywhere, and I get it. I want it to be incorporate itself in here and really fill in the space, because I don't want to plant anymore in this space. If I need to add a pop of color, I might add a planter. But honestly, I want to stop buying annuals as much as possible, and I want this to just get after it. So the question, Ajuga, periwinkle, will those 2, do you have those 2 in your same bed? And if so, who's winning out? Like what fears should I have 5 years down the road? As well, do you have sedum along with the other 2, and who's winning out? I am a bit nervous because I really like how the sedum just floats along the ground there, but at the same time I know I've planted some pretty aggressive things and I'm knowingly doing it. at the same time, I want it. So I do want this to be incorporated in that darker foliage. And then I want the periwinkle to come in here and just kind of take over. I've got some ferns coming in. An individual had met me through this channel and gracious enough to give me some from her bed. So we'll be planting those in, and I've got something going in right here where we'll pop in those ferns as well. So that is going to be in the next couple videos, and I think that's going to be really good. Again, if you've been following for any length of time, you know I'm trying to capture as much of a view when I walk through this moon gate. I'm going to back up, and I'm sorry if this is redundant, but my moon gate is very important to the aspect of walking through and almost feeling like you're walking into another area, because we do have a whole garden set up behind me that blocks off this area for the most part. And so don't you think it's actually coming through? Those barberry are just going to be gorgeous. I do plant tight, so if you're just tuning in, I do plant tight. I get things tighter than it needs to be, and then we just kind of allow things to win where they need to win. So if I need to cut back on the sedum autumn joy back there, the bigger clumps, I can easily do that, but I do not want to in any way give any kind of form to the barberry. I think that's just I want it to grow natural. Same way with these boxwoods, I'm gonna let it grow natural. I could come back and maybe trim up a couple top pieces just to flush it out back towards the bottom. But I'm telling you, I want this to stand out, and I really, really think, I hope it's coming through the channel. In fact, I don't even know which thumbnail I'll use, because I've got options now. And then on the back side, if you missed this on Mother's Day, I believe it was, we put out a video with this Brunnera back here. Guys, this is gonna be so gorgeous when it's so full, and you can see that it's just gonna it encompasses this whole area. You won't even see the dirt, and that's what we're talking about. We just want to continue to push the theme that this is all just floating, just a whole garden bed of just floating plants that just kind of incorporate and take and own the space without me having to see the soil, because it cuts back on weeds, obviously. It holds the moisture in a lot better. I probably won't have to mulch. And again, I think I just mentioned that I won't have to water as much, but guys, this is all coming together. There's something right there that I'll be planting up. It just kind of came to me the other day, and I think it's gonna just button up, because I think that's it. That's our last space for this little bed here. If you're wondering, from this point to this point, I'm thinking maybe 10 feet. And from, well, I don't know where you guys would want, I think right where the stepping stones are. So from this point right here, where the point of heuchera is, over to the end where we have the grass right here, I'd say that's about 20 some feet. So 20 by 10 maybe at the widest points. I think this is so gorgeous. I cannot wait. The enthusiasm is because I can already visualize what this is going to look like, and I can't wait. I know it's overkill. I know me planting those in is overkill, but at the end of the day, I want results yesterday. And again, if I don't plant this thick enough, now I'm gonna probably be out here plucking weeds throughout the season, and because I don't even want to incorporate mulch into this bed. In fact, I won't. I just want it to go right on the soil and take off. I can come back here with mulch and do back there, but I will not come over here on this front side of this garden bed and just leave it. I did have, if you've seen in the video when I dug out this spot, I typically, let me see if I can find a spot. So I have all the large stone, and then all of a sudden I'll have a pocket of, let's see. Yeah, it's probably been covered over by myself and hay, but I usually have chunks of rock, just little loose chunks of river rock. Yeah, I don't see it. There was a pocket here. I may have already got rid of it, but I think that's fun to play with those large stones. It kind of gives you something else to look at. Look at this view though. It is all coming together. I am so excited how far we've come just since spring. I really hope this camera is picking up what we're trying to deliver right here. And just think, guys, no background in horticulture or anything like that. You can literally get out here and just teach yourself. I've had a lot of YouTube helpers teach me by watching them, reading magazines, reading books, but gosh dang, we've created this with zero knowledge. It was all by accident. And here we are, about 8 years later. I think it's gorgeous. We'll take one more look at this, guys, and then I think that's it. So remember, do you have sedum, ajuga, and periwinkle all in the same spot? If so, or if you have two of those, how do they treat each other? Is one more of a bully than the other? Because I know I have ajuga in the space back here, and I had to move out my heuchera because they pretty much made the heuchera down to 1 or 2 leaves. So I don't want that, but I am fearful that now the periwinkle is going to own the space where the heuchera are. So anyway, let me know what you're thinking, and then feel free, while you're typing in all that, let me know about our little tricycle. Would you or would you not have that in there if this was your garden? I think it turned out well, guys. That being said, I will see you guys on the next video, hopefully planting up by that railroad tied lamp. So I might make this my thumbnail, even though it don't have anything to do with it. I think this is a cute spot. So anyway, see you guys on the flip side. Bye-bye now.